The Coca-Cola Company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and PepsiCo are bringing consumers more choices with less sugar than ever before. From sparkling, flavored, and bottled waters to zero-sugar sports drinks, teas, and sodas, consumers are taking advantage of these choices. In fact, nearly 60% of beverages sold contain zero sugar. To learn more, visit balanceus.org.
This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 930, Shutting Down the Food Company I Never Started, by Margo Aaron of ThatSeemsImportant.com. And I'm Dan, your host for the show, and thanks so much for joining me today as we look to hear from another author with another great article on entrepreneurship. And let's do it. Let's jump right into the post for this Tuesday as we optimize your life. Shutting Down the Food Company I Never Started, by Margo Aaron of ThatSeemsImportant.com. The ginger root, that's root R-O-U-T-E, was going to be a clean food company. Then it was going to be a platform. Ginger root had many iterations, all of which live in perpetuity in a notebook somewhere in my office. I worked on that quote-unquote business for longer than I care to admit here in public. It's in air quotes because the thing I did not do was launch it. The thing I did do was strategize. Customer interviews? Oh yeah. Research? You betcha. Take classes? Heck yes. Networking? Holy smokes. The food folks I got one-on-one to chat with me? Wow. This is where I started getting good at sales and copy, but I didn't know that yet. I was too busy trying to start a food company I'd never start. I had hundreds of pages of plans. I mapped it all out. I had many legitimate reasons for not starting the business. Manufacturing constraints, capital, geography, bad margins, low demand, and a million other things that distracted me from the truth. I never really tried. I was desperately clinging to the illusion of control. I wanted people to think I was smart. I wanted to be seen as a breakout wunderkind. So I searched for a framework, a template, a step-by-step formula for how not to fail. I thought I was doing due diligence, which is something you should do, but that is not what I was doing. To be a breakout wunderkind, whatever that means, you can't be motivated by how others perceive you. You have to be committed to the idea. You're its servant and advocate. Its human version because it doesn't have a body. It lodges itself in your mind, and you are now responsible for bringing it to life. I was stuck on what Liz Gilbert calls the runway, sitting there on the tarmac, getting ready to take off, but not actually taking off. To take off, you'd have to do the things I was unwilling to do, which were face rejection, try something that didn't work, sell more, sell a different way, sell again, go to bat for the wrong idea, make a fool of myself, let people know I was selling something, tell them again, change the idea, and try again. The truth was, I felt comfortable on the tarmac. I could sit on the tarmac and give advice that sounded so smart, like, I'm in it for the long game, or spit out some math that made it seem like I'd earned my stripes and been in the trenches when all I'd done was sit on the tarmac and talk to other pilots who'd been in the trenches. I'd been nowhere, and I was afraid of people finding out I'd been nowhere. I needed other people to believe I knew what I was doing because I didn't believe it. I was stealing from them, stealing belief in myself, stealing self-worth, which are not things you can steal because they aren't things you can get externally. You have to manufacture them internally, which at the time I didn't know how to do. The food business never panned out, but I did make some headway in consulting. Turns out I wasn't terrible at sales, and I managed to land a few freelance projects as a insert made-up consulting name. I made up an offer and a title and all of it out of my imagination, or business acumen, I don't know. Might be the same thing. All I know is the first time someone offered to pay me $9,000 to implement an offer I invented out of my own brain, I was hooked. It woke me up to the power of trusting yourself enough to fail elegantly and with respect. I had no idea if the idea or ideas would work. I thought this was fraud, that you cannot promise something unless you know 1,000% you can guarantee the result. I couldn't guarantee anything, and so I didn't. I said, this might not work. Here is what I think will work. Here's why. Here is the cost of doing nothing. Here's the cost of trying. And then I put some onus on the prospect. Here is what I will need from you. And I flew off the runway. It felt good to fly, to get a taste of taking a swing and actually hitting something. but I got stuck on the tarmac again shortly thereafter. I'm on the tarmac a lot, to be honest. I think between projects I always hang out there a little, because the runway isn't a bad place to refuel. It's just a terrible place to live. You just listened to the post titled "Shutting Down the Food Company I Never Started" by Margo Aaron of thatseemsimportant.com.
Smoothie King asks, what's that sound? That's the sound of hearts popping out of your eyes when you see Smoothie King's all-new smoothie bowls. These Power Pack beauties are just waiting to be spooned. Our smoothie bowls start with acai or pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, ripe mangoes, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. That's the sound of a smoothie bowl being made fresh, just for you. The new Smoothie Bowls menu, only at Smoothie King.
If your business earns millions or tens of millions in revenue, stop what you're doing and take a listen, because NetSuite by Oracle has just rolled out the best offer we've ever seen. For the first time in NetSuite's 22 years as the #1 cloud financial system, you can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. That's no payment and no interest for 6 months. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, and it's #1 because they give your business everything you need in real time, all in one place. And the confidence that comes with having all of your information in one place really helps to streamline decisions, saving you time, money, and energy, all thanks to NetSuite's amazing offer. If you've been sizing up NetSuite to make the switch, then you know this deal is unprecedented. No interest, no payments. Take advantage of this special financing offer at netsuite.com/startup, netsuite.com/startup, to get the visibility and control you need to weather any storm. netsuite.com/startup. And big thanks to Margo for letting us share this post today. In her quest to answer the question, how do you get people to care, and not finding the answers in her job, Margo set about learning all she could about persuasion, influence, direct response, copywriting, branding, and more, and eventually started her own business. But while she was making money, she still wasn't getting people to care. So she started writing about her experiences and eventually gained quite a following. Today, Margo is the co-host of the popular internet talk show Hillary and Margo Yell at Websites, and her website, That Seems Important, was named one of the top 100 sites for writers. So come check it out. You can find it at thatseemsimportant.com, and I have that linked in this episode's description for you. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. I thank you so much, as always, for joining me, and I hope this post gives you a little helping hand to get you to the next level in your work life. Of course, I'll be back again with you tomorrow, and that is where your optimal life awaits.